Hello, and welcome to this tutorial on how to hack and play as Inferno in Soul Calibur II. As always, I'd recommend going back and watching the very first video I made in regards to boss hacking. It just gives you kind of the basics of this process, how it works, and just other little things to sort of explain why this process works. You don't have to, of course. If you're just interested in hacking this game, then you can just follow the method as I'm doing here, but I think it's just a bit easier once you have some grounding, some foundation as to why you do this, basically. As always, you'll need three things, and that's, of course, the game itself actually open, a hacking program such as ArtMoney or Cheat Engine. I'm using ArtMoney, of course, and also with that program, make sure to select the process itself. In this case, it's PCSX2, which is the PS2 emulator that I'm using here. I don't know of any others. And I don't know of any better ones either, by extension. I find it's perfectly good, always served the purpose that it's supposed to. Very few issues with it, so yeah, if you need a PS2 emulator, I'd highly recommend using this one. As in some cases, you'll also need a list of character values, because it won't be obvious what character values you need to search for. That's particularly the case with the Soul Calibur and Tekken series, because they tend to keep it the same from game to game, but they tend to mess around with the character selection screen, so the order of the characters, so you usually wouldn't realize that. That's the same in Soul Calibur 2, basically. It actually keeps most of the values from Soul Calibur, but it changes around quite a few, and for some reason there are just jarring gaps where some values don't contain any data whatsoever, for some reason. Namco programming is pure bullshit, and it's just absolutely ludicrous. I wouldn't know these values, actually, if it wasn't for, I think GameHacking.org had these, from what I recall. And they have a lot of these for old games, because they store old codes for action replay codes and codebreaker and all that kind of stuff, basically. So I managed to get them from them, and because this process is basically the exact same as using one of those, it meant that I was able to use those values. I'll of course also list these values in the description below. Now, hacking Inferno here is actually really, really simple. Go into the character selection screen here. You see, one of the best things about Soul Calibur 2 is that it actually shows you the character model here. Not only is that great, but you can actually search for and filter to find the character address on the character selection screen, which is really, really uncommon for game hacking. Usually, the values tend to be different for the selection screen than they do for the actual characters. So you'd have to go into a match, search for a value, exit, pick another character, go back in, and so on and so forth. Here, though, it's really, really simple, and it's wonderfully so as a result. So all you need to do, basically, is just sort of search for and then filter for values associated with a certain character. So let's start with Taki, highlight her, and then search for 3. In modern versions of ArtMoney, they tend to have this thing where it's the address range, and there's a few different ones. Always select all. The emulator one will actually prevent you, for some reason, from finding the character address. I have no clue why. That's just how it is. Maxi is value 4, so we'll filter for 4. And then Voldo is value 5, as you can see down here, so we'll filter for 5. Let's go back to Mitsurugi, and I'll filter for 1, because that is his value. We now have 13 values, but only 1 or 2 of these will actually affect the character themselves. The rest of it is like almost sort of knock-on data, like one address loads a certain character, and so then, as a result of that, the other addresses know to load a whole bunch of information as a result. Not entirely sure how it works, but that seems to be the general method that works, or how it works in the game's programming. So let's try changing one of these to 19, which I've listed down below. Freeze that value in place, and yeah, there's Inferno. And it's as simple as that. It's as basic as that for this game, and it's so wonderfully easy as a result. It's wonderfully easy as well, actually, for Soul Calibur 3 for the exact same reasons. You can hack them on the character selection screen, and you see a model of the character before you pick them themselves, making it really, really easy. Now, of course, Inferno is pretty Borken here, is probably the best way that I can explain it, because if he takes a certain amount of damage, he tries to do that style change thing, but the problem is that the player would never have that happen. It would always be the CPU. So the CPU character tries to do it, but Inferno hasn't actually changed to a new style. That, like, it's almost like a box that hasn't been ticked in the game's programming, so it tries to do that again, and it just ends up as an endless loop where it never stops, basically. It's absolutely ridiculous. As a result, he is pretty, unfortunately, quite botched in terms of gameplay here. There's not that much you can do with him. He apparently also has special moves, but I've tried for ages to get these to work, and I've never been able to get them to work. I think it was like his special throw that I was able to do, but that was it. Like, I can't find how you do any of the other ones. But that's it. That's how you select and play as Inferno here. Whether you'd want to or not is entirely up to you, of course, but, you know, if you can access something you've never been able to access before, why not? It's a lot of fun. I think it's important just to sort of document how you do this in the first place, so other people and future people can not only do that, but also use it as a basis for hacking future games as a result. Any questions or any other queries, of course, feel free to leave them below. And as always, thank you very much for watching.